That is a cry for help. Like, this nigga grows weed. Bro got me finna roll up one right now. New op pack in the air, that's gas or what? You know what I'm saying? What you trying to do?
In 1975, and one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, Arnold Schwarzenegger, is seen smoking a joint directly after his 6th Mr. Olympia victory.
As he should. See, you know what? I've watched everything I needed to see. If Arnold Schwarzenegger can smoke his gas, so can I. You feel me? Like, I feel like that's the standard. You feel me? Arnold Schwarzenegger smoking his gas, I can smoke my gas type shit. You feel me? I'm already liking this video.
On to admit that he did in fact smoke marijuana in the 70s, and that raises the question: how could someone that was so dominant in bodybuilding, a sport that requires you to get to ridiculously low levels of body fat while packing on pound after pound of muscle, how could he win 7 Mr. Olympias while using a substance stereotypically associated with making people fat and lazy? Well, as marijuana legalization efforts grow, and with many states already allowing recreational marijuana use, more and more people wonder how weed can affect their weight, body fat percentage, muscle mass, and their overall results that they see from exercise. So today I want to give you guys a non-biased, science-based review of marijuana and how exactly it can help or hurt your muscle building and fat loss goals. First of all, it's important to understand that marijuana was originally made illegal not because of any proven harmful effects, but instead it was done to suppress certain minority groups and to snuff out competition between the wood industry and the hemp industry. In case you don't know, hemp is the plant that grows marijuana. Back in the early to mid 1900s.
Yeah, I know. I just found out my brother got a partner that like grows his gas, bro. Like, this nigga grows weed, my nigga. You feel me? Like, y'all understand where my head going right now, right? Like, niggas is never gonna go without. This nigga ain't never gonna, bro. And I heard that shit gonna be ready about like sometime next year. Like, bro, it's over with. It's over with.
Since it posed a serious threat, a smear campaign was created against marijuana that eventually led to it being criminalized. Since then, it's gone from being extremely demonized to actually having applicable medical uses today. For example, it's now commonly used to treat cancer patients to help them relieve nausea and pain.
Who would have knew? Who would have known? Folks with cancer just need a little bit of gas. Little bit of gas in their life. You feel me?
Lack of appetite. There are also studies that show that marijuana can slow the growth of tumors like pancreatic cancer cells, for example. When taking a closer look, we find that marijuana contains a chemical known as THC, which is responsible for most of the physiological effects that produce the high, as well as the increased appetite that causes the so-called munchies or excessive snacking. Another major cannabinoid is known as CBD, which has been found to have medicinal value for controlling epilepsy and other neurological disorders, and there's evidence to suggest that it could even be effective at reducing inflammation. But even though marijuana clearly has some medical benefits, many doctors and researchers still consider marijuana to potentially be harmful for your health. For example, researchers found that smoking 3 to 4 cannabis cigarettes per day could lead to similar risks with respiratory issues as what's seen in people regularly smoking over 20 tobacco cigarettes per day.
I feel like the people that blow down that much, which I used to be one of them, that is a cry for help. You know what I'm saying? Because by like, bro, I ain't even gonna lie, halfway through the second, unless you just puffing on mid, like, bro, probably like the second one, like halfway through the second one, bro. If you on that pressure, if you on that Zopac, bro, you feel me? You should be straight. You know what I'm saying? You gonna be feeling like, bro, I could like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool and type shit, you know?
Studies that don't support this view on marijuana being as bad as tobacco. Some studies have shown that marijuana could even improve how strong the lungs are and the lung capacity as well. So this is a highly debated issue that we won't have answers to until scientists are more able to freely conduct experiments and research on marijuana. With all that said, that doesn't change the fact that some athletes do indeed use it, and many believe it provides performance-enhancing effects. For example, one study on French student athletes athletes found that 17.8% of the
Oh, they've been
females
testing
and
this
almost
shit.
40% of the males had used cannabis more than 10 times over the course of 30 days.
Oh,
This may have
God.
to do with the fact that many athletes often claim that marijuana helps them focus and concentrate better.
You be locked
Some
in,
athletes
on God.
also believe that it has a relaxing effect that could help reduce stress and possibly assist with recovery.
Yeah.
It might help with recovery because marijuana is a vasodilator, which means that it can widen your arteries and improve blood flow,
that
which
blood
can help
flow.
reduce soreness. There's also a common belief shared by runners that smoking marijuana before their run helps enhance the runner's high, which is a feeling of euphoria that's experienced after a couple minutes of running, and for a long time it's always been associated with a release of endorphins. However, research now shows that endorphins may not be able to reach the brain, so it may be more likely that endocannabinoids are the mechanism that leads to that runner's high, and that may be why marijuana amplifies its effect. There are also other claims about marijuana.
I have not heard a negative thing yet. I was expecting to get drilled. Whoever sent me this video, you're getting a follow back for sure. It's probably gonna follow you back anyways. I ain't popping on the gram or nothing, you feel me? And now TikTok, that's a whole other story. But on the gram, I ain't gonna act Hollywood, nigga. Goddamn, I'm a regular nigga. Goddamn.
Athletes say that it helps them get in the zone, and due to its pain-reducing effects, some athletes believe that it helps them push through that burning sensation felt throughout the body during a workout. However, science doesn't fully agree that the physiological effects that lead to improved focus, concentration, and relaxation come without their share of negative side effects. For example, research on cyclists found that smoking a cigarette with 1.7% THC, which is much lower than the amount that's regularly found in a joint, but even that small amount reduced maximal power output for the cyclist significantly compared to those that did not smoke that small amount of THC. On top of that, research also shows that marijuana can distort perception, coordination, and cognition, which not only impairs performance, but may also increase the risk of injuries when using heavy weights. Now, combine that with the fact that marijuana...
I ain't gonna count, nigga. I have walked in the gym, faded out my mind, son. But a nigga still put 345 on the squat rack. And squatted that little shit, you feel me? Like what? I don't walk in the gym like right after I smoke a blitz. Like, are you fucking crazy? Like, no, I'm not finna do that. Well, if I got to, I will type shit, but like that ain't my preference. My preference, if I am gonna be high, son, I wanna be able to slap it off a little bit, then go. You know what I'm saying? With it still in my system, me still feeling it, but just not as strong type shit. But like, you know what I'm saying? When it come to the gym, son, it's like shit. No excuses. You feel me? You gotta hit that motherfucker.
Can increase your pain threshold, like I just said.
That's what I'm saying.
It's pretty clear that smoking before a heavy lifting session isn't necessarily the best thing for injury prevention.
Yeah.
With that said, it's important to note that the loss of coordination highly depends on the dose and your tolerance. So either having a really high tolerance or smoking only a small amount of marijuana may not be as detrimental to your coordination, cognition, and performance.
Facts.
But even with that taken into account, we still have more studies that suggest that THC can significantly reduce many performance measures like balance, reaction speed, and psychomotor performance, which is essentially the coordination of your conscious cognitive processing and your physical movement. Now, specifically in regard to muscle growth, there are definitely some interesting pros and cons. Unfortunately, there are no direct studies on how marijuana impacts muscle growth, but some studies do show that the THC from marijuana can impair testosterone production. One study found testosterone levels were 56% lower among men who used marijuana at least 4 days a week for at least 6 months compared to those who had never used it at all.
Oh, dang. Y'all trying to say I'm less of a man? Cause I be blowing on that ganja, bro. That's crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy. I don't know how to feel about that shit, man. My feelings kind of hurt. I feel like Buddy just tried to call me a bitch, like in the most scientific way possible. You know? You trying to say I don't got enough testosterone, nigga? Huh? You know what I'm saying? What you trying to do?
There is a possibility that it can impair muscle growth more for heavy smokers simply because they're consuming more of it, but some research shows that that's also unlikely because the testosterone suppressing effects become less significant.
That's what I've been trying to tell niggas, bro. Weed kills weight. doesn't kill muscle. That's why every fat nigga I've ever came across in my life, son, them niggas skinny now. You wanna know why they skinny? Cause they be off that ganja. You heard me? I feel like weed saves lives. You feel me? New op pack in the air, that's guess what? Bro, the gas isn't what makes you lose the weight. It's you starving yourself when your ass get the munchies, my nigga.
The more excess weight that someone carries, the less likely they are to use marijuana. And a survey of about 50,000 people confirmed these results. Even after adjusting for factors like age, sex, and tobacco use, people using marijuana at least 3 times per week were 40% less likely to be obese. This is probably because with acute marijuana use, or using it every now and then, it can be more likely to increase your appetite and lead to a binge because you're not used to the drug's effects on your appetite. Meanwhile, chronic use could lead to a higher degree of tolerance to the THC, which reduces the effect on the appetite. Couple that with the fact that marijuana use increases your heart rate, and you'll see why chronic use may actually reduce body weight rather than increase it. Of course, a lot of this does depend on the individual too. There are rumors that some very lean bodybuilders are able to use marijuana without being crippled by the munchies. Bodybuilding competitors are really only able to use a substance like marijuana to unwind since it's calorie-free, unlike alcohol. And clearly, some of them are able to control their appetite. Meanwhile, others are simply not. So munchies more than likely affect
people. Bro got me finna roll up one right now. God damn, I feel healthy as hell. Bro, they straight up just told me this shit good for me, son. Keep going. That nigga said I ain't puffing enough. You feel me? Oh, let me stop.
On a person-by-person basis. Some people can control it while others will binge. So with all that said, as of now, it doesn't seem that we can conclusively say that marijuana will prevent or slow muscle growth, and if it helps you increase your appetite and take in the amount of calories you need to bulk up, then it may even help you build muscle. Meanwhile, if you're trying to burn fat, you don't smoke that often, and you can't resist the munchies when you do smoke, you may be better off staying away from it entirely. That about wraps it up, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you now understand how marijuana affects performance, muscle growth, and fat loss at least a little better. Remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon, and also
y'all go subscribe to Gravity Transformations. That nigga know what he talking about, you feel me? Without further ado, yeah, I'm finna go roll me up one, nigga, you feel me? Goddamn, got crazy, nigga. I'm out this bitch on game.